They say the mashal example of the bar mitzvah boy. Maybe you'll try to relate to it, but you see the bar mitzvah boy, he's all excited, he has his tefillin, and he's running into the shul, and he puts it on, and he's checking it, and they check, make sure it's right, and it's in the right place, and he keeps on winding it. You just have to wind up the strap 7 times, and that's it. But he keeps on winding it, and rewinding it, and making sure it's better, it's equally spaced. Now they move it back, 10 times, 15 times the first day. And he makes the bracha. He makes the bracha with a lot of intensity. That's the first time he puts on tefillin. But how is it 5 years, 10 years down the line when a person puts on tefillin? Does it have the same simcha? That's for a boy. Maybe for a lady to think of first time you lit candles, first time when you got married, you came into your own house, you lit the candles, you made the bracha, the tefillah after you lit the candles. You were there with Hashem. You lit the candles. It was the way it's brought down to Bilvavi Beshkan Evna. You do a mitzvah. The mitzvah has to be with Hashem. Every mitzvah has to be centered around Hashem. The 2 things you have to think about before you do any mitzvah is Mahu Oisa. What are you doing? Which mitzvah am I going to do? V'lifnei mi ata Oisa. And in front of who am I doing it? Those are the 2 things you always have to think about. For any time you're doing anything, specifically mitzvahs, but in general everything. Ma'oisa, what am I doing? I'm doing a mitzvah. What's the idea behind the mitzvah? And lifnei mi, I'm doing it in front of Hashem. Hashem is the reason. Hashem is the center. Every mitzvah has to be centered around Hashem. Compared to there's an example that they say over that it says the empty Jews of Klal Yisrael, they're compared to that they should have mitzvahs like a rimon. We have mitzvahs like a rimon. Even the empty Jews, they still have so many mitzvahs like a pomegranate. So the big question is, so we have 613 mitzvahs, that's for the empty Jews. So what's so bad? Why are they so empty if they have 613? So there's an answer brought down by Bavavi Meshkan Evna that it's different how the seeds of the pomegranate are centered than around different fruits. An apple, the seeds are centered around the core. They're all around the core. They're in the core. But by pomegranate, they're all around. They're scattered, dispersed. She says that's how the mitzvahs have to be. The mitzvahs of an empty person, they're empty. They're a little mitzvah here, a mitzvah there. He does it. He shakes a lulav, right? Puts on tefillin, lights the candles, but they're not centered around Hashem. Each mitzvah has to be with Hashem in mind. You have to know what you're doing. Everything you're doing is for a reason. It's with Hashem right in front of you. Hashem is the core, is the emunah, and it's all because Hashem said it. So that's a mitzvah that's done. If it's done with Hashem in the middle, that's the real mitzvah. That's when you're growing in emunah every day. A person should be growing each day with emunah. The empty ones, they just do mitzvahs scattered. A seed over here, a mitzvah over here, but it doesn't have anything connecting it. It doesn't have Hashem in the middle. That's an idea he brings down. So to here, the mitzvahs, they have to be full of intensity, full of simcha. So every candle lighting, this Friday night has to be a candle lighting like the first Friday night. And every mitzvah that a person does has to be the same way. It has to be filled with simcha. So you say, how can I do that? How can I get back the simcha? How can I get back the enthusiasm from the first time? The first time has the enthusiasm because it was new. Anytime you do anything new, it has the simcha. That's why when we read the Megillah, everyone's all excited. Because it's new. We haven't had it for a full year. Rosh Shofar. So how do you do a mitzvah, which you do constantly? How do you get back the enthusiasm? So the idea is, a person has to always learn about the mitzvah that they want to do. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta says, it says in the Gemara that if a person is attacked by the Yetzer Hara, you have to pull him into the Beis Medrash. In Pageu Menovel Zeh, if you beat the Menovel, if you beat the evil inclination, Mashcheu, you got to pull him in the Beis Medrash. So Rabbi Yisrael Salanta said you have to pull him into that Beis Medrash, the Beis Medrash that you want to improve in. If you want to learn, you want to improve in candles, so you got to learn about candle lighting. Whether it will be Musar or Halacha. Halacha you could take on, read the Halachas, read about, it's a fascinating Halachas. Read about what happens if the candles go out, what happens if you forget to make the bracha, what do you do if you're eating in one place and you're sleeping in another place. There's a lot of Halachas to learn. Any mitzvah that you want to learn about, if you learn about it, you'll get into it. You'll have the joy of it because it's more alive. You'll be more on top of it, more keyed on, ready for it. That's one idea to learn about. Also, Musar, to learn a little bit of something which will give you a little bit, boost you up. It will tell you the chashivas, tell you the importance of lighting candles, tell you what it represents, give you the ideas behind the mitzvah. That's also something which will fuel, it will give fuel to the mitzvah. This is just one example, but any mitzvah which a person wants to improve on and to get more of the cheshek, more enthusiasm, you have to learn about it. Okay, you can learn about it. Go to the library, go to the Sfarim store, take out. You can find a sefer on anything. If you look at the right place, you can find a sefer on any mitzvah. Kibbutz of aim. You'll learn about that. You read about Dama ben Nesina, what he did. His father was sleeping, and they came to him for the keys. They wanted to buy the jewel, so he didn't want to wake up his father, even for all the money. You'll learn about that. That gives you a cyrus. That gives you an awakening and a yearning for the mitzvah. You can also learn about the halachas of kibbutz avim. That also is good. That also keeps you. You're ready. You're on target. You're ready. And when the opportunity presents itself, and your mother asks you for something, B'ez Hashem, everyone should have till 120. They should be able to honor their parents. But any mitzvah, you're ready for it and you're on guard. That gives cheshek. So this is something that is an idea how the Jews, they were running away. The Ramban is saying they were running away from Har Sinai. So Rabbi Rucham is saying here that they didn't have the proper joy out of the mitzvahs. So therefore, it ended up that brought about the second punishment. The second punishment was that they started complaining. They wanted batzel, they wanted onions, because it was a result from the first evil happening. Because they didn't appreciate the mitzvahs and the Torah, that led them that they therefore started complaining. So it's a good thing to think about. Rabbi Victor Miller used to speak about this, that on Motzei Shabbos, he used to say in New York, people are running around, they're driving cars fast. He used to say, these cars zooming down Ocean Parkway. So he said, why are they zooming? They get in the car, Motzei Shabbos, start zooming down. Where are they zooming? Where are they running? So they think they're running because they feel that they have to get out. But he said it's really this idea. Hanefesh lo timali. The soul doesn't get filled up, so they need a little bit of something. So they think they're misinterpreting it. They think they need to get out and run here and go get entertained here and get entertained there. But really what they need is some ruchnius. They need to do a mitzvah. They need a daven a good davening. They need davening is something also which it could be worked on also. But they were misinterpreting, and therefore they think they're running there. That will fill them up. It's not going to fill them up. Temporary will fill them up, but not long term. Long term, it doesn't fill them up. Rabbi Lapian says it's comparable to. He took example of eating some delicacy, pizza. He said you could eat a slice of pizza. I don't know if this is a good mashal. This is sushi. Pick an example. Everyone has to tune it to what they like. But he says you eat one, you eat two, you eat three slices, but then that's it. Then the enjoyment is finished. You could maybe think back and remember the fact that you had enjoyment, but you don't re-experience the enjoyment. The enjoyment is finished. But it says when mitzvahs and Torah, the enjoyment doesn't go away. It says if you ever did a real chesed for someone, if you ever helped someone out, then you had a feeling in your heart that it didn't leave you when you finished. When you finished that mitzvah, it wasn't that, you finished the pizza and then that's it. Right? As it goes down, that's the extent of the enjoyment. By the pizza, the Mesilas Yesharim brings down, as it goes down your throat, okay, you're enjoying it. Tastes good. Tastes amazing. It's a mitzvah even, certain times, to eat, to enjoy it. Einik Shabbos. But after that, there's no more, you don't have any more enjoyment. But I heard this over a lot of times from Rabbi Berkowitz, that when you do a mitzvah, a real mitzvah with the right feeling, you can enjoy it. You can take that out. It stays with you. If you ever did a real chesed, really help someone out, true chesed, be true, take someone in who didn't have a place. Not someone that, it's nice, you can have over friends, that's nice. But someone who's really stuck, you have them over, do a real chesed, that feeling you take with you forever. Forever. You think back, I remember one time when I was in New York, many years ago, and I bumped into an old lady. She was walking down towards East 9th. I lived on East 9th back then, and I'll share with you the story just to bring out the point. So the old lady, she asked me where the street is. She was looking for. She said a few things. She was very old already. She said East 9th and she said West 9th. In her conversation, it was during the course of this, as she was telling me where she lives, she said East 9th and then she said West 9th. And then I thought back, and I lived on East 9th, but West 9th, you have to go all the way from East 9th past Ocean Parkway. That's East 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and then it turns by the train tracks, and then it turns into West. And I think it was a Friday night, Shabbos morning, and so I told her how to go. I said, I think you're on the wrong place. She was looking for a big apartment. There was no apartment there. I said, you got to go down there, down towards West. You're on East. But she was very old, and I saw that she wasn't going to understand, because she kept on stopping to ask people after. I saw where she was going. She was asking. She wasn't sure. So I started walking her down, and I walked her, and we walked all the way till West 9th. And then I think she saw her apartment. I think she was able to finally get back. I knew if I would leave her on East 9th, she would never get back. Or it would take, I don't know what it would be. But that chesed that I did, I can never forget for the rest of my life. Such a chesed where you help someone, that's a chesed that you take with you, and it's not over in a minute. It's not over in 5 minutes. A good Shemon Esrei, if you daven a good tefillah, it's not over. You take that with you. You have to work on it. I'm not saying Shemon Esrei is easy. Shemon Esrei, tefillah, is one of the hardest things that we have to do, because Shemon Esrei is different. Tefillah is different than every mitzvah. Every mitzvah, we usually have something physical in there. You take a lulav, you shake a lulav. Or you take a shofar, you hear the shofar, you hear the sound, you see the shofar. Or you light the candles, you have candles in front of you, it's physical. But in terms of tefillah is one of the rare mitzvahs where there's nothing physical involved. It's totally speaking to Hashem. Hashem's right in front of you, Hashem's right here. But you have to really believe it. Mesilas Yesharim brings down later in the big Parak Yud Aleph, he says, Shemon Esrei is, you have to keep on putting it in, driving it home, that Hashem is in front of you, and Hashem hears every word you're saying, just like you're talking to your friend. Just like, imagine your friend is right outside the door, and he's listening to everything you say. Right? Let's say I have someone, who's here. Let's say it was someone who wanted to hear the shir. Let's say a friend of mine. So I would tell him, listen outside the door. You'll hear everything I say. But I can't see him, but I know he's right there. So Mesilas Yesharim says that's what we have to do when we say Shemon Esrei. Like your friend is listening and paying attention to every word. That's how we have to imbue into ourselves every time we stand up for Shemon Esrei that Hashem's here. We can't see him. That's why it's so hard. The reason why Mesilas Yesharim brings down, it's so hard because ein hachush margisha. The chush, the senses, the 5 senses, you can't feel. You can't feel. You can't hear Hashem. You can't see Hashem. So you can't smell. There's no smell. There's nothing. It's just that you have to imagine and put into yourself that Hashem's right in front of me. So he said that takes practice, years and years. But as you do it, the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you can feel Hashem. If you take a break, then it slides back. But you have to keep on imbuing and putting into yourself that Hashem is here. Kire'ehu, just like your friend will be there and listening to every word. That's how Hashem is listening attentively to every word. So Shemon Esrei is also something to work on. If you daven a good Shemon Esrei, imagine a person, they daven, they get ready, they get set for Shemon Esrei, they think about, you take a minute before you daven. It says that's why we say Ashrei. Why do we start? We say Ashrei before Mincha, we say Tefillas before, in Shachris. We don't go straight to Shemon Esrei. You have to get ready. You have to get yourself in the right frame of mind for Shemon Esrei. So he says that's the idea. When you think that Hashem's here, you put the Emunah in, and then you daven a good Shemon Esrei, you say every word, pronouncing it, right? That's a good way to work on, to get the Kavanah, is maybe you pronounce every word carefully. If you enunciate all the vowels, that also helps hearing the words, right? As you hear each word, that also helps the Kavanah. And then you think about it, you think Hashem's in front of you, Hashem's listening to every word, right? Like that's like the Rabbi said that Hashem is in the middle of every mitzvah. If Hashem's there, in the middle of the Shemon Esrei, it's not just you have to say the words, you got to finish up these pages. It's talking to Hashem. Hashem's here and Hashem's listening. And our Chazal have given us a text, they've given a formula how to read what's the best thing for us to say. This is the formula. It's amazing. You could insert your own tefillah. in the end of Shemona Esrei. But you say this tefillah, this is beautiful. Each word is put there with such precision. The amount of words, every word, if you know how they count it up. The Rishonim go into every word in Shemona Esrei, how many words there are. Every bracha, how many words there are. That's why in Kaddish, even in Kaddish, there's exact amount of words. You'll notice in Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Chazan adds in La'ela Ula'ela. And it's part of they add in La'ela La'ela, it's the highest of the high. So since they put in another word, Ula'ela, they have to take out a word. So instead of saying Min Kol Bechasa, so they don't do Min Kol, they say Mi Kol. They put that and compound it into one word. Because it has a certain amount of words, and it has a lot of heavenly, it affects a lot in the heaven, and it was made by Nashek Knesset Gedolah. So every word in Shemona Esrei is valuable. So if a person does that, they get themselves in the right frame of mind, and they know what they're davening for. Maybe something to think about, get yourself ready, think about something you want to ask for, then you get ready in Shemona Esrei. I want to ask for Das, I want to ask for, could be any part of Shemona Esrei. So then you enunciate the words, you try to have kavanah. That's a Shemona Esrei. You think back, you won't forget such a Shemona Esrei. You step out of Shemona Esrei. It's not that then you go to somewhere else. As you're walking away, you could still feel the ruchnius. You could still feel the joy, the connection of that Shemona Esrei. It's not just like a physical pleasure. Physical pleasure, you finish, it's over. That's it. You could think back to the fact that I had a pleasure before, but you don't enjoy it anymore. But in terms of ruchnius, the Shemona Esrei you step out of, that's a Geshmak of Shemona Esrei. You have that with you for life. You'll have it that time when you connected with Hashem. If you ever went to the Kaisel is just, you don't need the Kaisel. I don't want to bring down a mashal of the first time you went to the Kaisel and you daven, because then they'll give the implication that you have to go to the Kaisel to have a good Shemona Esrei. So I don't want to say the first time you went to the Kaisel and you had a Shemona Esrei, you connected with Hashem. It's true. You might have had a great Shemona Esrei, you might have connected there. But you could do that anywhere. Hashem is all over. Hashem is B'chol Makom. He's called Hamokan. He's called Hamokan because he's everywhere. Hashem is Mekayme Shalaylam. Baruch Kavod Hashem Mi Mekayme. Wherever his place is all over. So you could have a good Shemona Esrei by your wall, by your staircase. Any place you have, Hashem is right here. Hashem, that's also an Amunah. Amunah is to realize Hashem is all around. It's a good idea to put that into yourself also. The Amunah, Hashem is right here. As you start Shemona Esrei, that is something that you take with you forever. That Shemona Esrei. That Shemona Esrei you could always keep back. It could keep you going for the whole day. That ruchnius. The truth is, Rav Volba says that the Shemona Esrei is supposed to keep you going till the next Shemona Esrei. And that's why he used to daven mincha. You could daven mincha at different times, starting from, let's say, after Chatzos, half hour after Chatzos. So Rav Volba used to say, well, you could daven later, you could daven up till Shkia, up till sunset. That's a big time span, from 2 o'clock till 8:30. But Rav Volba always made sure to daven at 2 o'clock, right away when he's able to. Because he said, I have to divide up the times that I'm able to talk to Hashem. That keeps me going, right? From, let's say, 7 in the morning till 2. From 2, my Shemona Esrei keeps me going till 9. 9, that keeps me going till 7. He didn't want to bunch the two together. He wanted to keep himself going, and that divides the day and keeps him in touch with Hashem. He didn't want to lose touch with Hashem. He lived with Hashem. We have to live with Hashem. Every Shemona Esrei we're living there together, Hashem's with us. That keeps the Amunah. If a person works on Shemona Esrei, the Amunah makes his Shemona Esrei better, and the Shemona Esrei makes his Amunah better. So that's also something to work on, to have the Shemona Esrei. Each one should be experiential. Should try to make every Shemona Esrei. Don't do it because you have to. You don't want to do it to be BAYT. You want to do it to make the best out of it, to give you the Amunah, to work on it. It says that Hashem, beautiful idea in Shemona Esrei is that Hashem, He gave us needs in order that we could daven to Him. We could work on our Amunah. If we have a problem, that's the time to daven. The Ramban says that's when we have a mitzvah from the Torah to daven. There's a mitzvah saseh. One of the 613 mitzvahs, according to Ramban, is to daven in a time of tragedy, a time of sorrow. Any time of sorrow. So the Ramban says that's the time when we're supposed to daven the most. So if a person ever has anything they need, any problem, then you're supposed to daven. And the reason is, says Rabbi Lapian, is therefore that's how we get close to Hashem. Hashem wants us to get close to Him. That's why He says, you look at the forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they all had problems. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, they couldn't have the children, right? Sarah, she davened. Rivka, right? Sarah, she brought in Hagar. Rivka, she had to daven for 10 years. She was davening on that corner. Yitzchak was on that corner. Rachel, she couldn't have any children. She brought in Bilhah. What happened? Why did Hashem do this to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and Sarah, Rivka, Rachel? What happened? Why couldn't they have children? These were our holiest people we ever had. How could it be that they couldn't have children? What kind of Hashem gave them such pain, such sorrow? Says Rabbi no, the answer is because Hashem wanted even them to come closer to Him. And the way you come close is with a good Shemoneh Esrei. And what prompts a good Shemoneh Esrei? If you have something that you have to ask for. When you have something you have to ask for, then you say, you realize Hashem is the only one who can give it to you. And then you have Devekus in such a Shemoneh Esrei. You get close to Hashem like no other. No, the closest you come to Hashem is when you have a real need and you dive into Hashem. That gives you Devekus. See, so he says that our forefathers, they were on such a high level, but there's even for them it was higher. They still could go higher if they would have a real tzara. So Hashem gave them those things that they should need to have children, and they should ask, and they should beg. That they could even they could go to a higher level, to the next level. So he says for us also, we also could strive, go higher. We have a tzara, we have something we need. We should ask for it, and then we come davok to Hashem, and then we come close to Hashem. We get attached to Hashem. The best Shemoneh Esrei you have is when you really need something, because if you feel you don't need something, so then you're not asking, right? Imagine if you don't really need it, but you have to ask for something. You have to perfunctory. You just ask because, well, that's the way everyone does it. Or I got to daven 3 times a day. I got to daven. Then you don't get the vakus on such a Shemoneh Esrei. Such a Shemoneh Esrei doesn't really take you anywhere. It has to be a Shemoneh Esrei where you really needed it, right? When my wife went to the delivery room, right, on our first time we went to the hospital, that was a Shemoneh Esrei. It wasn't a Shemoneh Esrei, it was a Tillim. That was a Tillim like I never said Tillim in my life. I never ever said from then or before then a Tillim like I said then. But it doesn't have to be on such a high level. When a person has a baby, it could be any time. Anytime a person has a need. Your child, you want your child to become a truly Torah Jew who does the mitzvahs with the right intensity. That's a tzara, that's a need. You want your child to be good and do the right things and give you nachas. That's something you should connect with Hashem. You should ask. Anything you really want, you should ask and connect with Hashem. And then that's what Hashem wants. He's waiting for us to come closer. It says Hashem is waiting for us to be davok. The Shemoneh Esrei has to make us attached to Him. So if we work on this is a little bit of a key. This is some things we could do to make it that we get out of the Shemoneh Esrei. So if we do that, if we get out of the mitzvos, we put in the right thought. Ma'u oisa, lifnei mi'u oisa. That's the famous words that he says from Bilvavi in the name of the Chazon Ish. What are you doing? In front of who are you doing? Learn about the halachos. Learn about what the mitzvos are. Right? Learn all about it. It could be about anything. Learn the musar about it. Learn a little bit of Asaris, awakening you. Teach yourselves the ideas behind the mitzvos. There's a lot written. The Chinuch wrote reasons and ideas behind every mitzvah. So that, and you concentrate on the mitzvah. So that gives us the feeling. Then we get filled up. The nefesh doesn't get filled up from this world, but it gets filled up. And it doesn't get all the way filled up, but at least we get a satisfaction. We get a joy out of doing mitzvahs. So that will be the key. The key of these piranhas, these 2 piranhas, is to get filled up from Torah and mitzvahs. Do the mitzvahs with the right intensity, the right kavanah. Then there won't be kiyatina kabarech mebeis sefer. Then you're not running away. Oh, I have to daven. I have to. Right? When we get out of shul, let's say on Yom Kippur. Okay, I got out. Okay, it's finally over. What's the idea when we leave shul? Or what's the idea when we finish? Finish. It has to be, even the learning. Learning should be the right learning. If it's not, you should get the joy out of learning Torah. It should make you, you should see the emes, see the truth, see the chen, see the beauty, the grace of learning Torah. If it's not, maybe you have to get a chavrusa on a different topic. It has to touch you, it has to speak to you. Every person should be getting filled up from all the mitzvahs. So then a person, when they leave the Beis HaSefer like that, then they don't come and ask for avatichim and kishuim. They don't ask for watermelon or cucumbers. Then it's the opposite. If a person gets filled up with Torah, then they come home and my wife says, "Oh, I don't have anything really for lunch." Okay, it's fine. There's bread and peanut butter in the fridge, jelly, macaroni. You can ask my wife. This is the one thing I try to work on, because it's lo chashuv. Okay, we'll have macaroni for lunch. We'll have whatever's in the lunch, whatever's in the fridge. That's for lunch. Okay, that's fine, because that's not what really fills you up. Okay, it has to get you by. You have to eat. You need to eat because of mafli lasois, because we're tied together with the guf. The guf has to also have satisfaction. The guf has to be well fed and well slept. If you don't have sleep, right? Also, the neshama will be down. So you need it, right? That's how it's inextricably tied up, the guf and the neshama together. If a person's sleeping, he can't do mitzvahs good. Right? That's you have to think about that mafli lasois. Why? Because he didn't sleep. So now you can't daven Shemona. That's very good. Why is your connection to doing a mitzvah? Why can't you daven the good Shemona? Because you didn't sleep so much. Because you didn't eat so much. The answer is, mafli lasois, the guf needs to be well fed and well taken care of in every aspect, every need. The guf, you have to treat your guf well. Rabbi Yoseph, Yishav Rafu Shlema. Rabbi Yoseph said he never missed a meal in his life, and he slept always, every night. He never missed a night's sleep. Maybe Shavuos he missed, but every day he said he never misses a meal. He never misses night's sleep, because you need to take care of your body in order for your neshama, which is it's housing the neshama in it, to be able to soar up, to do a good Shemona Esrei. You need your guf to be taken care of. So on that, once you take care of your guf, then you do the neshama the right way. Then you're okay. Then you don't complain. You're not looking for, well, we have to go here, we have to travel, we need cucumbers, we need watermelons. We're okay. Have a great Shabbos. Everyone should merit to excel in this, and it's up to us to make the most of it. To every Shabbos table, you could bring it up, make the most of it, bring it up, and get the ruchnius, and we'll get filled up with that.
Amen.